Hey everyone, I'm Almar of almarsguides.com, and in this video here, I'm going to be talking about the infant fairy innocent devils and which one's the best, and also basically just giving you a rundown of all of them, what they do, etc, etc. So the one I'm using now is actually the best one, Tiramisu right here. So if you wanted the bottom line up front, so to speak. But I'm going to explain why it's best in a little bit. First, we're going to start with the level 1 infant fairy. So they get unlock and heal level 1. Unlock is used for opening chests that you find throughout the area. And also one thing that I would like to explain too is on the right hand side of the screen, you'll notice that you have like a little graph showing you where they excel, for lack of better words. What it actually is showing you is stat growth. So you'll see this one has a hearts and attack. That's where their main stat growth is, which is kind of bad for a fairy because you don't want them to have attack. Hearts is okay though. So moving on to the first set of tier 2 fairies, you see this one gets a lot more hearts, but he's still an attack, which isn't that good. He gets time heal and poison powder. So time heal and poison powder. Time heal, it does more or less what you would assume. It heals you over time. Very small amount, it's okay. Poison powder poisons the enemy, which is, again, kind of okay. These abilities are unlocked by defeating a certain amount of enemies while this fairy is active. Antidote and heal level, Urbest is the next one, and he learns Antidote and heal level 2. So Antidote cures you of any poisons, and heal level 2 is just a better version of heal. So going back to poison powder, I didn't really explain what this does. It puts poison on an enemy. It does horrible damage. However, it does stagger the enemy, which is good and bad. If you're trying to steal from an enemy, then it's really bad because he won't be able to attack to open up his steal window. However, if you're just trying to kill an enemy, then it's really, really good because, well, he is basically, much like when you were poisoned, he gets caught in an infinite stagger, basically. Just stagger, 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 and he can't do anything. So, our best we already went through. So, looking at tier 3 fairies, as you can see, we're trying to move through this pretty fast, so we're not wasting so much of your time. Honeybee is the first tier 3 fairy I'm going to talk about, and she learns Healing Field. So, this is a terrible ability during combat, but a halfway decent ability overall. You can drop Healing Field on the ground after you finish killing all of the enemies and then stand in it and heal up and then move to the next room. So for certain, like, boss rush mode, it has its strengths and weaknesses, I guess. That would be one time where, like, during somewhat of a boss fight, I could see it being useful, but during almost every boss fight, it will not be useful because in order for Healing Field to work, you have to stand inside of it, so keep that in mind. So Killer Bee is the next fairy that I'm going to talk about, and they get Heal Level 3 and Curse Breaker. So Curse Breaker, it will cleanse you of any, I think they're just called curses. It will automatically cleanse you of curses, and that's something I didn't mention about Antidote too, is you don't have to activate the ability and you don't have to wait for it. It automatically will cleanse you when you get either Antidote or Curse on you. And Heal Level 3, which is just the better version of Heal. Healing Field and also these two abilities, you'll see they both say at the bottom, defeat a certain number of enemies with the battle ID, or with the fairy ID out. And you'll see that for a lot of abilities overall. Almost all of them are defeat a certain number of enemies while you're using that fairy. Or while you're using that innocent devil. So moving on to Hornet, we are looking at two abilities which... Stonebreaker is okay. Lucky Slot is hot garbage. It essentially makes a slot wheel appear on your screen, and then it'll heal you for a certain amount depending on what your slot roll was. It's crap. And also the stat growth for this fairy sucks too. You can see it. He basically gets all attack. I mean, who cares about that on a fairy? Seriously. So this Probiscus fairy, he's you need him for beating the game, or 100% map progression is the better way to put it, because you don't need him for beating the game, just map progression. He starts out with Precedent C, as you can see. This is an innate skill, and it allows you to hit a button. That's really it. Just a little. I actually don't know if I know what this one does. I remember all of the skills being useless, but I don't remember every single one and what it does. I remember a refresh being the best one, too. I think it shrinks an enemy or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Skull Bomb is... I actually remember what that one does. He puts a bomb on the ground, and then he counts down, and then it blows up. It's not very good. Refresh is the last one, and this one is actually, like I said, it's pretty good. It automatically cures any status ailments that are applied to you, basically. So it does what Antidote does. It does what all of the other ones do. And also, going back to this guy, Stonebreaker, I think I forgot it. It cures petrification. That's it. But Probiscus Fairy, he's an okay endgame fairy. You have to make one in order for precedency. But aside from that, it's not worth running around with him. Tiramisu, this is, in my opinion, the best fairy in the game. And there's two reasons. One thing, Decipher, you kind of, I guess, need this. You can just Google instead of deciphering. Like, you can Google what the ancient texts say. But this fairy will read a few ancient texts to you throughout the game. Like I said, you can just Google them instead. It's really not required. Gold Heal is one of the best heals in the entire game. And also, it's something that people underestimate online a lot that I see. What Gold Heal does is it costs 5,000 gold and it heals you to full, basically. And gold in this game is pretty useless. So I actually think it's a pretty good ability. I use it during boss rush mode sometimes in order to fully heal myself. Because, I mean, what else do you use gold on? Like, for real. And Invincible Vase, this is good for a whole bunch of different things. It allows you to steal from death. While being invulnerable. You do have to cancel it at the last second. I have a video on how to steal from death on my channel. But it makes you invincible to all damage and also to being staggered for 10 seconds. This is what makes Tiramisu the best fairy in the game. Gold Heal and Invincible Vase. They're both amazing. And one thing that's good about Gold Heal too is it costs 0 hearts. So you can always pull him out and then heal yourself to full. So Tiara... she comes with Healing Drop and Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull will make you invisible for a short period of time, and it's... I don't really know where it's useful. Healing Drop is the worst skill of any fairy ever. Every single time that you hit an enemy, it will drop an orb that gives you back 2 health. That's it. It's not even worth talking about. So, looking at the final fairy, Comet Star, we have Twinkle Shot, Lullaby, and Heal level 4. So, Twinkle Shot deals damage to enemies. I do know that, but it's not much. None of the fairies do that much damage anyway. Lullaby puts enemies to sleep, which is, it's somewhat decent, and it puts them in it's a somewhat large radius, too. So, it's the best skill that you get on for the Comet Star, basically. And Heal level 4, it does exactly what you would assume it does. It's a better version of Heal. So Lullaby is the best skill in this list, and Heal level 4 is second best. But ultimately, you really don't need, like, you can get a better heal. The main thing I don't like about Heal level 4 is it costs a ton of hearts, and it doesn't heal for that much. Like, you can do something like Healing Field, which costs less hearts, but then you got to stand in it, or you can just do something like Gold Heal and, skip all of that. But it's a very, very large heart cost, so that's something you have to keep in mind. But Lullaby isn't too bad for combat. But anyway, that really is all there is to it. As I said earlier, Tiramisu is the best fairy in this list, so that's personally what I use and what I would recommend you use too. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, or if you think I forgot something and should have mentioned something else about one of the fairies, let me know in the comment section below. And aside from that, I will catch you guys around in future Castlevania Curse of Darkness videos. Peace.